Hello, it's me, Just Mike, and today I wanted to talk to you about my pathway to citizenship here in the Netherlands. I am an American by birth, but I've been living in the Netherlands now for 22 years in the charming city of Haarlem. In fact, I'm recording this video in my benedenwoning, which just means downstairs house in Dutch. And this benedenwoning is situated in Haarlem, where I have lived for all of the 22 years that I've been here. I now have dual citizenship. I have a passport from the US and a passport from the Netherlands, and I want to tell you how I obtained that. That I was able to obtain through a program here in the Netherlands called Dutch Citizenship by Option. And it is an option that is clearly delineated and offered by the Netherlands. And there are simply two requirements for that option. The first requirement is that you have been married or a registered partner of a Dutch citizen for 3 years prior to application. And the second requirement is that you have lived in the Netherlands as a resident for 15 years. So it's not a quick path to citizenship, but it is my path. And I can tell you how all of that happened. And that is in 2002, when I first arrived here in the Netherlands. I still wasn't sure that it was a place that I wanted to live. I was simply on vacation and exploring the country, and I discovered the charms of Haarlem, and I would go back and forth between Philadelphia, where I lived in the US, and Haarlem, because I had the legal right to be here for 90 days at any given time on my passport without a special visa or without a permit. And so when the 90 days were up, I would return to Philadelphia and then spend some time there and then come back to the Netherlands for 90 days. And that continued for some time. And it was about a year into my journey here that I met my soulmate and my partner and my eventual husband. We were eventually married in Haarlem. But that was 15 years in the making. We were in a relationship for 15 years before we decided to get married, and we've been married now for 6 years. So when I met my partner, who is a Dutch citizen, although he is not Dutch by birth, he's actually Mexican, but he did have his citizenship. So something he said to me at the time we met, which meant so much to me then, and I still think about it. He said that no matter the status of our relationship or what would become of us in terms of a relationship, he wanted to make my dream of living here in the Netherlands come true. He wanted to help me in that regard. So he formally sponsored me, which is a matter of filling out an application indicating that he would vouch for me, I suppose, if I went completely off of the rails, that financially he is responsible for me. That allowed me to obtain a residence permit, which of course also gave me the right to work in the country. So I obtained my first job here at a Dutch company in a bank, where I worked for 7 years. And we continued, as I say, that relationship for 15 years and eventually decided to get married. And we were married here in this city. And after 3 years of marriage, I qualified for Dutch citizenship by option. I applied. It was a very simple, streamlined process, and eventually obtained my Dutch citizenship. And with that program, that option, you are not required to relinquish your current passport or citizenship. I was able to keep my American passport and citizenship. And the other thing is that you don't have to speak Dutch. The language requirement, which is normally part of any other process, any standard process, is no longer required. I sometimes view the Dutch citizenship as through option as a kind of give up clause, so to speak, that the Dutch have finally just said, my God, you know what, we give up on this guy. He's been here for 15 years. If he speaks the language, great. If he doesn't, well, we give up. I can speak the language, by the way. Early on in my days, I took intensive level of Dutch courses, really for my own sake, to be able to understand what was being said around me and to be able to read Dutch and to speak Dutch to a certain point. I will say that in my case, I haven't needed to speak so much Dutch because both the jobs that I've had here, although they have been with Dutch companies, the official language of those companies has been English. And in fact, in my current role, in my current job, I am there specifically because of my English language skills. And as I mentioned, because my husband is not Dutch, we speak English at home and I speak English for work. So for me, that has been the leading language. But this video really has been about my pathway to citizenship. And I'm not suggesting that this is a pathway to citizenship for you. Obviously, it's not going to be for everyone. And in subsequent videos, I do want to talk about other options that there are for obtaining residence here in this lovely country and for obtaining citizenship, in fact. But this is just my story about how I came to acquire dual citizenship. So I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I hope you learned a little bit about that process and a little bit about me. And thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon.